Hi there, everybody. I'm Jack Church, and this is my podcast, The Jack Church Show. And I'm coming to you this evening from the television station where I've been working the last couple of years in Oregon as a weather guy. I've worked in television pretty much my entire life. And back in October, I made a big decision. The decision was I was going to leave Oregon. And you might be asking, well, why? And why now? And that's the whole point of this podcast. I lost my wife now in October of 2019. And I did what everybody says. They say, wait a year before you make any major decisions and see how you feel. Well, immediately after she passed, I wanted to get out of here. But I thought, no, I'll hang on. I've got a good job. It pays well. I've got good benefits. Let's see how I feel in a year. Well, I felt a little better in terms of how I was handling my grief. Felt like I was making some progress. Mind you, I still miss her every minute, every second of every day. But I was functioning better and at a higher level. However, there kept being this pull inside me that I needed to make a change. And let me explain why. Maybe you can relate. Maybe it isn't quite like your situation. But here was ours. Pam and I raised two beautiful kids who are grown up now, both graduated college, have good jobs. During that time, though, we drove them crazy because we moved all over the country. We just loved new adventures, and working in the television world, we were able to do that. I could find television jobs here and there and everywhere. Now, some people choose to stay in the same place for many years. We just weren't wired that way. Pam was always ready for the next adventure. I was always hesitant and saying, oh no, we can't do this. And then she'd say, yes, we can. And we would. Some moves turned out better than others. But would I ever get rid of any of those moves? I thought about that, and we used to have that discussion. And the answer is no, because we made friends everywhere we went. And if I got rid of one of those moves, I'd have to get rid of some of those friends. So no, don't regret any of the moves. But let's go back to how we ended up in this part of the world. We came here a little over 2 years ago. It was actually in the fall of 2018. Pam started having back pain on the golf course one day. And 6 weeks after we got here, we got the diagnosis that she had cancer in her bones. 10 months later, unfortunately, she passed and went to heaven. This beautiful 5'4", 115-pound woman deteriorated quickly, but she kept working. Up until 2 weeks before she passed, she worked for a real estate developer in California working from home. And she was a fighter. So my first year here in Southern Oregon was working full-time in my television job and also being a full-time caregiver to my beautiful wife, helping her the best I could. Then my second year in Oregon was that of being alone. The first time I was ever alone since college. And then we had the pandemic. And then we had terrible wildfires here. And then I started feeling terrible isolation because we never really had an opportunity to make friends like we had in the past with other couples and other people and things like that. And then, of course, the pandemic further complicated those issues. So from a personal standpoint, things just weren't working for me here. I was tired of being lonely. I would talk to my friends from all around the country in California, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, even some in the eastern and central parts of Oregon, but nobody was close by. Our kids kept saying, Dad, why are you staying where you are? And I said, well, there's this thing called a direct deposit every 2 weeks that I like getting. But you know, the longer I stayed, the longer I began to realize that, you know what? That old saying that money can't buy happiness, it's true. I needed to be around longtime friends and family and our kids because those are people who knew Pam and can talk about Pam and we can share memories. I didn't have that here. So in the middle of a pandemic, I decided to leave my good-paying job with benefits. That's right. I decided it's time for a change. So I gave my resignation. I gave 6 weeks notice. I'm under contract, but they agreed to allow me to get out of the contract. They totally understood why. Several of my coworkers said, "We can't believe you stayed here this long." I even had a grief counselor tell me, "I don't know how you made it up there alone like that, so isolated, with no friends or family, and then a pandemic on top of that." I don't know how I did either, but a lot of it I think had to do with what Pam told me in her final days. She said, "Don't fear life." And she says, "Always try and smile." She said it beats the alternative. And she's exactly right. So here, very soon, I'll be loading up and heading out to Nashville, Tennessee, where I'm going to make this podcast, My Life's Calling. I hope to grow it. I hope it goes somewhere. But before I left, you know what else I did? I sold all the furniture in our small house. I decided I don't want that furniture anymore. There were bad memories associated with it. It was actually new furniture we bought right after we got here. But again, Pam was ill the entire time, and that's all I could see is her laying down on that couch when she was in pain. Or I could see her sitting in this one chair and in so much pain and needing a heating pad and asking for a Tylenol. That bed that we shared is where she passed. Those are not good memories. It's just stuff. So I sold it all. The last few weeks, I've had my big screen television, a little club chair in the living room. I've got all of my cooking utensils because I still love to cook, and I kept a mattress and a box spring and a desk and my computer and my equipment for the podcast, and that's it. So you might be saying, that sounds like a sad existence. No, it's not. It's an existence of hope. Because when I look around the house and I see that things are gone, I'm looking forward to the next chapter now and going to my new home. I've already leased a new place in one of those trendy apartment places. It's got all the amenities and lots of young people living there. It's got a great vibe to it. You know what else I did? I ordered brand new furniture. I ordered it here in Oregon and will take it with me because I don't have to pay sales tax in Oregon. And I ordered things with bright colors. I want to make this place visually appealing. I want it to be a happy space for me. So what have I learned? What am I trying to tell you? Well, here's the bottom line. For the last 2 years, I didn't look forward to anything. During the year that Pam was ill, I dreaded our days. Oh no, now don't get me wrong. I loved her dearly. I wanted to be with her. But I dreaded the days and the pain she was feeling. I dreaded going to the hospital for another visit. I dreaded going to the doctor for another visit. I hated having to go and get scans and tests and things like that done. It just wasn't much fun. But you know what? She paid the ultimate price. I got nothing to complain about. She's the one that lived with that pain. And I do remember, though, she had an incredibly deep faith. And she knew where she was going. She was so sure. I don't know what your beliefs are, but we're believers as Christians. And we believe in Christ, and we believe in the afterlife. And she was comfortable with that. And while I wasn't comfortable with her leaving, I was comfortable with where she was going. Then in the second year, as I sat around here and trying to do the best I could, it just seems like there wasn't anything to look forward to. I wasn't planning. I wasn't pointing towards anything because remember, when you're in a relationship, everything revolves around that relationship. Pam and I talked about our hopes, our dreams, and where might we move to next. We never talked about retiring, and I'm still not talking about retiring. I'm still a ways off from that. Wiped out financially through her illness, unfortunately. But I'm okay. I'll be okay. But for the first time in over 2 years, I'm excited about the future. As uncertain as it is, in the middle of a pandemic, with no guarantee of a paycheck or benefits or anything on the other end, I'm excited because I now am in a position to recreate my life and to recreate a way to make a living in a way that I can help others, which is what I really want to do. That's what I've been doing with this podcast, is I'm taking the most horrible thing that happened in my life to this point. And I thought, I can sit around and have all the pity parties I want. I can be as sad as I want. I can ask people to feel sorry for me. But how does that help anybody? Pam was the type person who loved helping others. And I'm finding that if I can just help one person, that's enough. Helping others, that's what it's all about. And that's what I intend to do now. I want to do that. It makes me feel good. Now, does it mean all the days are just going to be rosy and beautiful? No. Still going to have sad days. Still going to have down days. I still cry. But at least I've got something to look forward to now. I've made that decision to make a change. Now, no, I'm not recommending to you that you quit your job and you move across the country. I hope maybe that you're in an area where you do have family and friends and support and things like that. That's really important. Now, if you're like me, though, and you're isolated off somewhere, make a change. That's the thing. There's nobody around to tell me not to do this. There's nobody that says, oh, you can't do that. The only one that can do that is me. And I've had that argument with myself. And I've decided I'm going to move. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to try and make my life better. And you know what? Pam will always be right at my side too. I feel very confident in that. So that's it. I hope that helps you a little bit. I'd love to hear from you. You know how to contact me. Drop me an email. It's at thejackchurchshow@yahoo.com. That's thejackchurchshow@yahoo.com. I'd love to hear from you, and maybe if you have some questions you'd like for us to talk about here, or maybe tell me your experience and what you did and how it may have helped you. We're all about helping each other here, okay? Be sure and subscribe, okay, to our podcast here, The Jack Church Show, and share it with others as well. We want to grow this thing. We want to help heal one another and get better. And as I always say, make it a great day and a better tomorrow. Bye now.